Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. If for those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this wonderful team that God has provided me. But Oz is off ushering today, so I will be the practitioner of the day. My faithful assistant Faith is here, as always. Oh, goodness. Faith has been my assistant basically since the day she was born. She was actually her dad's assistant for the first part of her life because he was working the soundboard, and she was about 3 weeks old when she first started coming to church, and he would work the soundboard in one hand and have her in the other hand. And then when she was able to crawl, he let her loose and she crawled right up on stage. And so we left her there. I figure she deserved to be up there. She acted like she owned the place. That's, might as well. And we'd put her on the podium when we did announcements. And who wouldn't pay attention to announcements with a cute little baby up there, right? So anyway, she grew up about 6 blocks from my house, and her dad was a tow truck driver. And when he would do these out-of-town tows, he would drop the girls off at my house. And I have a project house. There's always some kind of project going on. So I got to see how, what her work was like. So when she was 14 and a half and said, I want a real job this year, I said, okay, come work for me at my ozone business. And out of the 3 assistants I've had, she's the best. And then when we started doing these live services for the pandemic, I asked her if she wanted to be my ministerial assistant, and she said yes, of course. And so here we are, and she is the woman behind the scenes, like the Wizard of Oz. You pull back the curtain, you see an old man. Here you see Faith. No old man, just a young girl. But she's in the background doing everything. And so I just have to press a couple of buttons and talk. That's all I have to do. So that works out. And so we like it when you say hi, good morning, hello when you greet us, because when we're in a facility, I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. When we're here without a facility, I have software that tells me a number but no names, and so I don't know who my audience is. So please say hi, good morning, hello, however you want to greet us, and Faith will answer you as me. And I go back later and just make sure that there isn't something I need to add, but it's only happened twice in 4 years. So it's very rare that she doesn't know me well enough to be able to answer questions. So anyway, she's also our soloist, but today we've got a special surprise for you. We're not going to be doing live music. We have something we want to play at the end, and they mute us. Facebook or YouTube mutes us when we do popular stuff. So just to make sure that we don't get muted in the middle of our service, we're going to do it at the end. So anyway, that is what we are doing today. So thank you, Faith, for being here. I couldn't do this without you. Love you. All right. And so today we're starting our month of gratitude, and this is week 1 that we're going to be talking about gratitude. I also want to introduce our adjunct music team, which they don't appear on camera, but Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver was the first to ask us to do her music in the service. And so we always like to say thank you to her, because we can have a real church service with music. The other one is Karen Drucker, who gifted us with her entire collection of like 20 CDs. And again, we couldn't do music without these 2 ladies. So I always like to acknowledge them, even though they don't appear on camera. And the last one is Albertina Giuffre, who was our singer from 2000 to about 2020. She needed to take some time off, and Faith stepped in to fill the void. And now Tina comes back for what she calls the crying season. It's Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Memorial Day. And then she comes and joins us for Christmas. So that is our adjunct music team. God has really blessed me with an enormous, beautiful, talented team that I couldn't do it without them. So I always like to acknowledge them. So there's a watch party button. If you would like to invite your friends, to see what kind of service we have on Sunday mornings. And you can talk amongst yourselves because it's a private chat. You won't bother anybody else, and you can answer any of their questions that they might have. So click on that watch party button and invite all your friends to the service. All right. I invite you now to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Surely the presence of God is right here, right now, operating in and through and around all of life. This presence, so mightily involved in every aspect of life, is involved in me. It is involved in all of us, for we are one in that infinite power, that infinite presence, that infinite life of God. And so with that presence here today, I bless the service knowing that it uplifts and inspires all of us in this very service, that we celebrate that essence of God. And so as I bless the service, I know it is good. I claim it as good. I give great thanks for it, and I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. And so this next song is one of Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's. When she was in practitioner training, she wrote this song to remind all of us that we are all one.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Yes, we are all one in it. Excuse me. If you like something that you hear in this service, use that thumbs up. Let us know that you like it. If you love something that you hear, send us hearts because we love to get love. And if something strikes you as very powerful, by all means, use that wow button. It gives me feedback to let me know when I'm on track. So you will notice that we are in our pajamas. Faith is actually doing church from bed. And that is because of the time change. Hopefully everybody remembered to change your clocks last night. We do this twice a year. We do it every time there's a time change. It's probably not as powerful now as it is in the spring because we lose an hour of sleep in the spring, and we gained an hour this year, or this time. So, but we kind of like to celebrate. When we had a facility, everybody would come to church in their pajamas. It was really fun. We loved Pajama Sunday. So, even though we're at home, we continue to do the process, because I like it. And I think Faith likes it too. So as I said, this is the month of gratitude. We're in week 1. And my talk today was inspired by a bumper sticker that I saw. Bless the whole world, no exception. And I laughed when I saw it, but it also spurred me to thinking about it because, it's really easy to bless those that do nice things for us, but it's not as easy to bless the entire world with no exceptions, because that means you have to bless people that perhaps are not the best, the most comforting people in the world. Abraham Hicks, who I like to listen to, I've mentioned before. I can't think of her name now. But anyway, she channels this entity called Abraham. And in one of his talks, he talks about, I assume he's a male because of Abraham, but supposedly he's a non-gender entity. But he talks about blessing people when you get in an argument as a means to a solution. And I haven't quite mastered that, because what an interesting thing to say. Thank you for having an argument with me so we can reach a resolution. I haven't reached that point yet, but it's an interesting idea that you would bless someone in the middle of an argument and say, thank you for having this argument with me so we can reach a resolution. I understand the concept of it. It makes perfect sense. But emotionally, I can't quite get there yet. Emotionally, I'm caught up in the argument. And so it's a little bit interesting to have that idea, but that is what it means to bless everyone, no exceptions, right? And I thought about how hard that would be to be in the middle of a fight and do that, but I got it. The best I can come up with is, okay, thank you for sharing, because, and it looks like it's sarcastic, but it's not. I mean, I had times when we were in a facility when people would come up, like I had this English teacher once in our congregation, and she would let me know when I was grammatically incorrect in some of the things that I said. And at first I kind of took offense to it. And then the next week I'd be scared to talk. I would stumble over my words because I was trying to be grammatically correct. And then I started realizing that she's just trying to share from her experience, and that what's more important is that it comes from my heart, and it doesn't really matter whether it's grammatically correct or not. That's my take on it. So I used to just say, thank you for sharing. And if I was still upset, I'd go home and process through it. I'd probably talk to Lynn about, rah, 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 rah. But in the moment I would say, okay, thank you for sharing. And I really meant that because she was sharing from her experience. But that's what it means to bless everyone with no exceptions. And so I thought about how it fits into the 3 stages of gratitude. The first stage, obviously, is giving thanks for that which you have already received. And that's an easy one, because everybody pretty much says, okay, thank you that I got this. And most of us are pretty good at that, but not everybody, obviously. And there's been times in my life, I don't know if you can relate to this, when my bills are $1,000 and I receive $100 in the mail, or I receive $100 for something. And I used to say, oh, that's not quite enough. What am I going to do? And once I really started practicing gratitude, I realized that what I needed to say was, thank you for the 1/10 of what I need, because that gets me part of the way. And then pretty soon it became, thank you, God, for the $100. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have to put those disclaimers in it anymore. And I know everybody pretty much goes through that at one time or another, where the bills are much greater than what you're receiving. And so you have a tendency to focus on what you don't have. And really what's important is focusing on what you do have. So when you are grateful for the 10%, or you're grateful for whatever you did receive, then more good comes to you, because what we focus our attention on, we create more of. The second stage of gratitude is giving thanks for something that will happen, because it's an act of faith before it comes into being. And it's from the presence, that the premise, that our good is already on its way, that it is being created for us, and we know that it is, and we are stating it as a fact that it has already happened, and we're grateful for it. And I'm not saying that God is a person or anything, but God works the same way we do. And so when we do something for someone, or we give someone something and they go, oh, that wasn't exactly what I wanted, or how much, or wow, you're not doing anything for me. How much do you feel like giving them anything again, right? It's much better to give thanks for that which you are expecting to happen, and realize that God is willing to do everything for you as it can do it through you. And so you also say, like, if somebody does a good job for you and you turn around and you go off, I'm just going to have to do it all myself, then they're not likely to do anything for you again. And so the idea of giving gratitude for that which is not yet manifested is not only an act of faith, but it's an act of positive affirmation for those things which we would like to receive. So if somebody does a less than perfect job for you, it's much better to be grateful for what they have done for you, and be grateful for the job they're going to do later on, right? And then the third stage of gratitude, because we've gone past all of those other stages, is now we give thanks constantly, because it's our nature. It's our nature to be in that state of gratitude. I always say we're made of God stuff. So can you imagine God not being grateful? Can you imagine God looking at something and saying that's not enough? Or God looking at the world and saying, gee, what have you done for me lately? That's not something that God would do. And since we're made of God, that is our nature, to be the grateful being, right? We're made in the image and likeness of God. And so all of this, whether you're talking about money, or you may have an illness, or you're having arguments, or, cutting people off, or, maybe you've lost a relationship and you're, upset about that. All of that is just stuff that we can express gratitude for, because that is our nature. And as long as we're in a grateful state, we are going to create more of what we say we're grateful for. So it's really best for us to practice gratitude. And when I say practice, I mean practice. Because I don't know that I've reached excellence with that either. I mean, I practice gratitude almost all the time. I try to say thank you for anything that anybody ever does for me. It's very hard for me to ask for people to do stuff. And so when they do it, I'm very, truly grateful. And so I am practicing all the time to reach that excellence perhaps someday. But practice makes perfect, right? And so the more we practice gratitude, the more we feel gratitude, the more good comes into our life, the more we feel grateful, right? It sets off this chain reaction. Oprah Winfrey said on one of her shows, and I love this because I don't necessarily think she's a religious scientist, although at times she sure sounds like it. She pops up with something that sounds so religious science that I can't imagine she's not. But I know she's friends with Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. But it's just funny to hear her say things. She says, if you focus on what you have, you will end up having more. If you focus on what you lack, you'll never have enough. That's a guarantee. And she said, I'm hoping that you will learn to take this into your heart as I have, and do as we are doing today. we are celebrating gratitude and really trying to inspire a shift in consciousness in this country. And the stuff in the country and the shift in the country comes with each one of you who hears me today. A different way of looking at your life, being thankful for what you have, and you will always end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you'll never, never have enough. And so when she said that, I stopped for a moment and was like, oh, wow, she's teaching religious science. I don't know. Like I said, I know she's friends with Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. I know he appears on her show from time to time. I'm not sure she's one of his congregation, but I'm sure she takes some inspiration from our philosophy, because that sounds just like Ernest Holmes, really. I mean, Ernest Holmes, the direct quote Dr. Ernest Holmes said was, what you focus your attention on, you create more of. And so that's what she's saying right there. If you focus on what you lack, you'll never have enough. If you focus on what you have, you'll end up having more. And again, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about money or love or health or anything else. But I love that she said it on national TV, because, she has millions of people who watch her show, and she's been able to do what religious science does in small proportions. She's been able to inspire the rest of the world to just even think about that for a moment. And so one of the exercises I really love doing in my classes is I hand out these little cards that I've done this in church before. I hand out these little black cards with a black dot in the middle, and I ask people to focus on that black dot for a minute. So we're going to do that real quick. I'm going to put that up. I want you to focus on the black dot. Don't look at the space around it. Just focus on the black dot. Notice as you do this that the black dot starts to get bigger and bigger and expand. Try not to blink if you can avoid it. And what you'll notice pretty soon is that there's less and less white area, until all of a sudden there's no white area after you focus on it long enough. Because the blackness takes over. So I'm going to pull that back now. But that is what we do in our classes, our beginning classes. So people can really get that concept on a feeling level, that what we focus our attention on enlarges until it takes over our entire life. So if you're focused on the bad relationship, or you're focused on no relationship at all, or you're focused on the illness that you may have, or you're focused on a lack of money, then you're focused on something that is going to increase until it takes over your entire life. So what better way to do it is to be grateful for the perfect relationship that's on its way to you, or the perfect health that you are going to experience, or the prosperity that you're going to enjoy. And again, you want to get into the feeling of it. So it's not just, I'm grateful. You want to feel that gratitude. You want to be able to put yourself in a state where that gratitude takes over, so that not only are you having the thoughts of gratitude, but you are having the feelings, the emotions, which is what powers our creativity to create from a thought. I always say that the thought itself is creative, but like the vehicle, like your car, but the emotion is like the gas that fuels that vehicle. And so when you are grateful, whoops, sorry, my cursor was in the wrong place. When you are feeling grateful, you are actually creating from a very powerful state of mind. And so when we're never satisfied and we have stressed out, joyless existence, continually drawing more of what we don't want, the practice of gratitude is actually a practice of joy, because we've reached our limit to what we can deal with, right? And so we now just reach a point where joy is our existence and gratitude is our expression, and our life is full of those things that we always wanted to have. I love this little story that I found, that there's a salesman that had a mule, and he began every trip with his mule by saying thank you. And that would that would start the trip. And then he would end the trip with amen, right? And so the mule got to where when you say thank you, he would move forward. And when you said amen, he would stop. So he sold this mule to this guy, and he said, you get this mule started by saying thank you. So the guy takes the mule and he starts going, and he says thank you, and the mule starts heading towards this cliff, and the salesman forgot to tell him to say amen at the end. And so he's just about to get to this cliff, and he's like panicking. Whoa, stop. He's using all these words, and he can't think of anything that will make the mule stop before he gets to the edge of the cliff. So he starts to pray, and he gets done praying at the very edge of the cliff, and he says amen, and the mule stops, and he said, oh, thank you. Oops. I love that story. But truthfully, I mean, we train our mind just like the salesman trained this mule. Because if I practice gratitude constantly, if that is something that I incorporate in every moment of every day, then it's training my mind to automatically be grateful, which is our natural state. It will feel more comfortable because you will notice that it is your natural state to be grateful. And resentment and gratitude can't coexist. So if you have a resentment against anyone or anything, then the remedy for that is to be grateful, right? And so when you are practicing gratitude, you are clearing out the resentment because it can't coexist. One of my favorite things to teach my foundations classes is before giving, be forgiving. Because if you enter into the act of giving while you have resentment in your heart, you're not free. Your heart is not free. And so instead of judging circumstances of our experience, we celebrate a state of gratitude, a feeling of gratitude for it. For instance, when our dog, ate chocolate one day, and I was in a frenzy. I literally, Coda, we had a block party over at my neighbors across the street who had a pool at that time. And everybody was on the front lawn playing volleyball. And we had served hot fudge sundaes. And Coda walks over. One of the kids had put their hot fudge sundae on the grass. And Coda walks over, ate that bowl, went over to someone else's and ate that bowl. And I was seeing it, but I wasn't thinking about, oh, there's chocolate in it. I was just like, oh, Coda, don't eat everybody's stuff. And then all of a sudden it hit me how much chocolate she'd just eaten. And I'm in this frenzy. And I, look it up on the Poison Control Center, and and I called the vet, and of course it's a weekend, so there's nobody there. And they're like, call the hospital. And I called the hospital, and they said, oh, well, how much did she eat and how much does she weigh? And they're like, yeah, she's fine. And I was personally very grateful for the experience because it taught me a couple of things. One was that I had to keep track of her better because Coda, I don't know if those of you who remember who've been around long enough, Coda was one of those really easy dogs you didn't have to do anything with. Like we would put her outside of the church and she would sit under the tree through the whole church service, and we'd put her outside and I'd forget her sometimes and she'd just sit on the front porch and wait for me to remember that she was outside. And so she was an easy dog. We didn't really have to watch her very closely. And so I was grateful that it taught me that I do need to watch her more carefully because, just like, so at that same day, she and this dog next door, Avatar, used to play together all the time. They were like buddies and they would sit together. They wouldn't touch each other, but they would sit together side by side, And they weren't cuddly, either one of them. Coda didn't like to be touched because she was born with an extra pathway in her heart. And I've talked to some people who've had that in their lives, and they've said they didn't like being touched. And so I know that that's what it was. At first, I kind of took it personally that she didn't like to be pet. But anyway, so she and Tar would just, sit together, but they would chase each other. And this one time, they were chasing each other around the pool. And then Tar headed straight for the pool and stopped at the edge. And Coda went running after him and didn't stop. And she gets out over the pool. And it was just like one in those cartoons where the animal goes, ooh, and right into the water. And I jump in, cell phone and all, and I'm trying to help her up. And I don't know, she was a 75-pound dog, but wet, she was like 150 pounds. And everybody's laughing. Nobody's helping me. And at the end, several of the guys came and helped me lift her out of the water. But I was grateful for that, even because, you know, it added to the brevity of the whole experience. It did ruin my cell phone, but I was grateful that I got a new phone. And it was, I was grateful for the help that I finally got at the end. I don't think they realized that I couldn't get her out of the pool. Like, she was too heavy for me to get her out of the pool. And so at the end, when they finally realized that, you know, she was too heavy for me, they came and helped me. The other one was when Chakwa got cancer. And I, at first, was so freaked out. It was hard for me to be grateful about anything. And then I became grateful for finding this doctor up in Conifer who specialized in autoimmune diseases, including cancer. And he was giving us this medication that you inject into someone that has cancer. And he had a dog, for instance, that had bone cancer in her head, and her head turned into mush. And once they started giving her the injections, it hardened. The problem was it hardened crooked. And so she wasn't able to eat hard food or anything. But I was really grateful that we found him. And then I was even more grateful that I had those. We had him about 7 months, I guess, after diagnosis, which I don't think we would have had otherwise if we hadn't been doing the injection. So I got the opportunity to practice gratitude with that, because he was with us full of life, and we were grateful for every little thing that he could do that was really, really interesting. Like, we were giving him like 6 shots a day, and he would hop over because they took his arm. So he would hop over when he would hear the cupboard door open, and he would present his neck until the very end, when they gave him this other thing that melted the tumors, and he was not a happy camper, and he didn't want to take the shots anymore. So I knew he was ready to go. But the effort to save his life taught us great gratitude for gaining that extra time with him. And he was such a happy dog during that time that it told us, you know, how much we needed to practice that gratitude. Another thing was to, right after his surgery, when they took his leg, I called about 4 hours later, and I asked the tech, you know, how's he doing? And he says, let me go check. And he said he went up to the cage, and Chakwa jumped up and ran over to him and gave him a big sloppy kiss, and then laid back down. And he, you know, I had that moment where I thought, you know, humans get grumpy and are mad because they feel like their body betrayed them and stuff like that. But the dogs don't. Like, they're grateful that there's a person there to love. And so that taught me another way of practicing gratitude. Another thing was, I didn't think he could do stairs because it was his front leg, you know, so we were blocking off the stairway and making sure that he didn't go up the stairs because I didn't want him falling back down the stairs, whatever. And one day I was carrying a basket of laundry, and I forgot to close off the stairs, and I ran upstairs and I put the laundry away, and I turn around and there he is. He had made it up the stairs. And then I watched him as he went down the stairs, and he leaned up against the wall and very gingerly went down the stairs. So I got to practice gratitude for the fact that he could do stuff like that. I got to tell you, I had this mentor minister, Reverend Dr. Marjorie Stahl, who was the mistress of praise, the mistress of blessings, the mistress of gratitude. I roomed with her one time in Puerto Vallarta, and she had always said these things in class, you know, praise God, this is the day that God has made. And she was always saying, praise God. And so I woke up one morning And for those of you who don't know, I used to not be a morning girl. I am these days, but I never used to be a morning girl. And Marjorie would get up really early and she'd swing her legs over the side of the bed and she would sit up and say, "Praise God, this is the day that God has made." And I would pull the covers down away from one eye and say, "Hola, Marjorie." And she'd say, "Hola, Tucker." And then I'd put it back and I'd go back to sleep and she would start her day. But she practiced what she preached. And so she passed out these like affirmation cards in class. Look for the good and praise it. And so for years we did that. When we would do a church service, we would have these little affirmation cards that you would put on your mirror in the bathroom. And I used to put it up in my car on the rear view mirror, not on it, but like above it. And it always taught me to be grateful, because she was the goddess of praise and gratitude. Look for the good and praise it. And when we first started having services, we were over at the Sheridan for like a month or 2 months or 3 months. And I'm given the message and this fire alarm starts to go off. And it's like right here, like right in my ear from where I'm speaking. And we used to have this other guy, Lineal, that was in the congregation. And we called him Lynn. He was a real tall guy, but I didn't know when it would stop. And we had this audience, and so I continued on my message while the thing was going well. I'm talking through it. And at the very moment I was just about to go into prayer, Lineal puts his hand up there and it stopped. And I did my entire thing with that thing blaring in my ear until the prayer, which I was grateful for, because I can talk through anything, but praying, it just interrupts the prayer, not my side of it, but the people listening. So whenever you are having a challenging experience, do a check-in with yourself. Try to do a sense of gratitude for what is good about it. Instead of wondering if you have enough, remember that, you have more than enough to share and to spare, and you're grateful for it. That's why I like to do the Sunday offering that we do. This perfect gift is spirit-informed, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so that's where that came from, is the idea of being grateful for everything that comes to us. And thank God that I have enough money to contribute to the church, to pay my bills, to have the things that I want. I took this workshop one time on conscious eating, and it was an interesting experience because I was so hungry. Had I known what I know now, I would have had a full meal before I even went, because the process took 3 hours. But she prepared this wonderful meal. And we took one dish at a time. We were able to take one scoop of food and put it in our mouths, but we weren't allowed to swallow it yet. And we did this meditation as we were eating about where it came from and what it took to get it here on the plate. And then we were allowed to finish that one. And then the next, thing would come, and we'd do the same process. At the end, we did get to eat it all, but that 3 hours was, I was so hungry. And one spoonful of something and waiting, like you're salivating and, it's already starting to pre-digest in your mouth. And so it was a little bit difficult, but it did teach me about being conscious, like brushing my teeth, for example. I practice brushing my teeth consciously, and I'm grateful for the presence of mind that I have at that time. It's really interesting when you start to be grateful and be present in everything that you do. So I want you to close your eyes just for a second and ask yourself this question. What do I have to be grateful for in this moment? What do I have to be grateful for in this moment? Allow yourself to just revel in that feeling of gratitude for that which you have to be grateful for. Okay, you can open your eyes now. I think the reason that I like to do a whole month of gratitude is because I can't believe that there's only one day. I'm grateful for you. Yes, I am. I can't believe that there's only one day in an entire year where we celebrate being grateful. Excuse me? I think that we need to practice it all the time. So I suggest people get up in the morning and whatever version of Marjorie's thing you want to do. I not everybody's going to want to swing their feet over the edge and say, praise God, this is the day that God has made. Karen Drucker has a song. Okay, just a minute. Karen Drucker has a song, Grateful for This Day Spirit. You can sing that song. You can just celebrate that you woke up this morning and be grateful for that. Whatever it takes to get you into a state of gratitude first thing in the morning, before you even get up to go to the bathroom, before you get up, before you even sit up in bed, you want to do something that puts you in that state of gratitude. And then as you go through your day, you're going to take gratitude breaks and ask yourself that same question. What do I have to be grateful for in this moment? And then, of course, at night, you're going to, the very last thing, right before you close your eyes, before you turn off the light, you're going to do some kind of gratitude journal. Even if you do it verbally, you are going to state at least 5 things that you're grateful for. When you write a check, you're going to write thank you. If you do an online thing, in the memo, say thank you. Whatever you can do to be grateful for the idea that you have what you have, that you have enough to share and to spare, you have enough to pay your bills, you have enough to whatever. And we're going to do this for 21 days because it takes 21 days to establish a habit. And so I'm going to call this the 21 days of blessing. All right. So we're going to do that every single week. And if you are so inspired, several people have done this with me over the years. On Facebook, every day, say one thing that you're grateful for. And that's your 21 days of blessing. Are you in for it? Are you willing to participate with me? I hope so. All right, let's have a prayer. Right now, I just turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence of God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful God is. For that is myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that is God within me. That is God flowing through me as it flows through all of life. I know that same truth to be so for the entire team that God has provided me, for Faith and for Tina and for Oz and for Karen and Elaine. I do know that that same wisdom of the ages that flows through all, flows through us, guiding us, leading us to that which ought to be done by us. I know that same truth to be so for everyone who is here, whether that be in real time or later on, because that same wisdom of the ages flows through everyone equally. And it guides us, inspiring us, leading us to the life that we are meant to have. We are all connected by it through it. Vitakios and all my brethren, we are all related. So I bless this coming week. I know that it is rampant with things to be grateful for. As we practice our gratitude, more and more and more comes to us that we can be grateful for. And as our practice develops, as we become more and more aware of those things that we are grateful for. As our body and our mind and our heart and our soul fills with the gratitude that is our birthright, we experience more and more and more to be grateful for. So I bless every name that is in the ministry of prayer today with that same experience. Because I know whatever challenge they are experiencing, God is the answer. God is the healing presence, the loving essence of life that flows through their lives. So I pull back the veil, revealing that truth here and now as I claim for them whatever their heart desires. And I claim it as good and very good. And so my heart fills with gratitude to know that it is so, to let it be so, and to be of service in this way. And so I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. So right now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to share with gratitude that which you have received already in the physical realm, and perhaps that which you have created in the mind of God but may not have experienced yet on the physical realm. So we're joining those two types of gratitude right away, those two stages. Excuse me. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org. And there you're going to find an offering affirmation about a third of the way down the page, maybe 2/3. And I'll ask you to say that with me, but then underneath that is a Contribute Now button. And so let me just briefly speak about what you're contributing to. When we're in a facility, there's rent and utilities and all the things that come with a facility, right? We don't have a facility. So right now, all of the proceeds of what we get in our contributions go to paying Faith's salary and to our mission that takes us to our vision. Now, our vision is a healed world, and that means globally. We already have, let's see, Philippines, Sri Lanka, India, Germany, UK, and Holland joining in later on. They all come back and watch it after the fact. But we really want to get to expand that further. And in order to do that, we of course have to do marketing. So our mission is to heal the world one person at a time. And the way we do that is by marketing to the world that we are here. And so, so when you hit on that contribute now and you contribute your money, that's what you're contributing to. So please go with me right now to www.oasiscsl.org. And it doesn't matter whether you're watching in real time or later on, say this offering affirmation with me, please. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Hit that contribute now button and help us with our mission to get to our vision. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast that serve our church. And this is the way they serve our church. There's 3 different ways. The first way is if we have prayer requests, they will pray every day on those requests for a week. So if you would like prayer for something, please put it in the comment section. If you don't want it to be public, you can DM Faith and she will make sure our God Squad gets it. Now, we call our ministry of prayer the God Squad, our licensed practitioners, because I love the imagery of them, you know, walking in the room, taking charge, right? We've been calling them the God Squad since we were created like 1999. And so, if you don't want it to be public, you can DM Faith and she'll make sure the God Squad gets it. And they will pray every day on those requests for an entire week. All right. And the second way that our licensed practitioners serve our church is by offering spiritual guidance sessions for a fee by appointment. So if you are interested in having a session for spiritual guidance, which I highly recommend, by the way, because there are things that you can't work through on yourself or by yourself. And it's really nice to have someone working on your behalf. I use practitioners all the time. And so if you're interested in doing that, you can look them up on Facebook. Right now, Oz is the only one that's available for that. But we do have other practitioners, Annie Glasgow, for example, who is in California, and Celeste, gosh, I can't think of her last name all of a sudden. Starts with an H. Haskell. Celeste Haskell is in Minnesota, and we have Oz who's in Florida. So we really are coast to coast. So definitely check out one of them. Look them up on Facebook and message them and say, I'd like a session of spiritual guidance. And they will let you know how to pay for it. Every practitioner has their own business, so I don't get involved in the payment of it. Some use PayPal, some Venmo, some Cash App, some Zelle, some Wise. And I don't get involved in that. They will let you know how to pay for it. And once it's paid for, they will reach out to you by video chat at your appointed time. The third way that our practitioners serve our congregation is by being practitioner of the day. Today, Oz is out ushering. Unfortunately, Oz is here almost all the time as our practitioner of the day until we have other practitioners who are willing to serve that way. But it means that he does the invocation and benediction. And at the end, he's available for our 1-minute miracle, which is not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can tell him whatever you are, whatever condition you are struggling with, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. Today, that would be me. So I am the practitioner of the day in Oz's absence. So I will be doing the benediction here in just a moment, and then I will be available for the 1-minute miracle after the fact. So reach out to me by video chat. If I don't answer, it means I'm on with someone else. Okay, so try back a little bit later. All right. I always like to mention Brooks and Bailey because they have wonderful jewelry anyway, but my main thing is their mala beads that they have necklaces and bracelets. I love the mala beads because the Hindus and Buddhists use those for their chants. They move one beat at a time as they do their chant. Well, in my world, I say do your affirmations 100 times a day. So there's 108 beads on a necklace, or on a mala bead necklace, and 54 on the bracelet. So it's a great way to keep track of whether you're doing your 100 affirmations or not. Again, there's not a magic formula. 100 affirmations a day isn't any better than doing 200 or 300. It's just getting in the habit of doing it, and a way of gauging that you're actually doing enough to make those grooves in the brain. Okay. So this necklace is amethyst. It's $60, but they have necklaces that are $30 and up, depending on the gemstone. And I don't know how much their bracelets are, but they're considerably less with the same gemstones. So check them out. You can either reach them by emailing them at brooksandbailey0307@gmail, or on their Facebook page. All the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which is a very good, worthy cause. And they do have a Facebook page. And I try to, anytime they're going to be at an event and have a booth, I try to reshare that on my page so that everybody knows they can go down and see them. But definitely, we like to support those who support us. So check them out. Christmas is coming. Mala beads are good. Jewelry is good. What a great gift to give to somebody. Next is Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's website. And again, we like to support those who support us. And so we use her music, and we would very much like for you to go to her website and purchase something, either for yourself or for a Christmas gift. It's a great Christmas gift to give somebody, by the way. Elaine's website doesn't work as far as payment goes. She's not able to update her website for some reason. And she travels around the country singing. And so she carries the CDs in her trunk of her car. So when you find a CD that you want, you just email her, let her know. She'll let you know how to pay for it. And then she's very good at sending those out right away, so you get them just immediately. So definitely check out her website and support her. And the other one is Karen Drucker, whose website does work, and you can pay for it right then and there. You can buy a song, a karaoke file. You can buy a CD. You can buy a songbook. Some of the songbooks pages also have American Sign Language if you wanted to learn how to do sign language on one of the songs. And her website does work, so you can buy it right then and there. And boy, I'm telling you, there is nothing better than buying a CD from Karen Drucker for a Christmas gift. Faith and I love the Songs of Spirit chant CDs, and they're great for getting you up in the morning, and the gratitude song is on one of those. I can't remember which one, but all of her CDs are really, really powerful. So that is a great gift to give to somebody, and a gift to give yourself as well. All right, then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. I know it's out of date. I've had a lot of life-changing events happen in the last couple of years, so it is out of date. We are working on it. I don't have a lot of time to work on it since I now have an 8-year-old child. But we are working on it to get it updated. In the meantime, you can go to YouTube for the video sermons and SoundCloud for the audio files under S. Tucker. On our website, you're going to find pictures of your spiritual family through picnics and our ordinations and that kind of stuff. So that still is up there. All right, let's move into prayer. So right now, I am knowing that the same infinite power and the same infinite presence that blessed this service continues to bless us this entire week. And so I give thanks for the blessings that we have received, for the life that we have enjoyed in this hour together, for all of the blessings that we will continue to receive. I give thanks for all of this, and I just let it be. And so it is. Now I'm going to say goodbye, but stay on, because I have a very special file that we're going to play. So right now I'm just going to bring Faith up, and we're going to say goodbye, and then we're going to play that video. Blah, can't talk. So join us the next week and every week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. We are going to continue the entire month of November as gratitude. So you definitely want to tune in. But we are so blessed to have you here with us because we know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. And we are so blessed that you are here with us as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next week, stay safe. We love you. And I'll let Faith do the video here.
And enjoy.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend to the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere in the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss. The gift to realize that
all that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all.
You're the blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learned every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart. Aligned in purpose, everything will feel gorgeous.
All that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all.
Every day I sit and pray 'cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan. But there's a million things that I can be grateful for.
So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am, all that I see,
everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.